Welcome to Your In Depth, where we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes. Today, we are going to get into the Lord of the Rings. We just finished The Hobbit, and we're getting into this. So, how you doing, Evan?
Oh,
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll just, we'll leave it at,
I was gonna say something, but if you
Oh,
don't
go
want me to,
ahead.
that's fine. I was gonna
No,
say I have
no,
two
I get, you know
screwdrivers
what?
ready right here.
Just go right ahead, I guess,
I
say
got
say
two
how you're doing.
screwdrivers right here, ready to go.
You know, you have a good way of making up my mind for me. In the sense of you starting that and me going, maybe I'll leave this. Maybe it's a blooper. Should I do a blooper? And then you say that. I'm like, yeah, I should do a blooper. So
You're welcome.
yeah, thanks for the blooper material. We will.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we are going to be starting with the Fellowship of the Ring. I want to, I guess, start off really quick by just saying that, just thank you for the 4,000. Not to you, idiot. Anyway. I wanted to say thank you for the fourth blooper reel being able to come out because of all the continued downloads. That has not been public yet, I will say, but it will be coming out on I don't know, Evan, when do you think would be a good upload date? I've got it ready, it's fully ready to be uploaded. I'm just trying to think, I wanted to do this episode to where we're kind of like giving like heads up for it coming, but I don't know when to actually say to, do it. Should we maybe do it on Friday?
I was thinking Sunday, but
Sunday?
Saturday, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's do Friday. How about Friday?
I don't know. You're the one that's gonna upload it, so I mean, I guess I don't know.
Alrighty. It will come out tomorrow. This should be uploaded and done on the 2nd. So this should be the blooper reel should be coming out on the 3rd. There. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for the 4,000. Not you. For the. Now I gotta jot down that time. God bless it. Okay. Thank you to the listeners for the 4,000 downloads. That's what I was trying to say this entire time.
I'm just saying, Jacob, if you would not leave so much of a pause or draw it out so much, I wouldn't have to reply.
Yeah.
This is really on you at the end of the day.
We're off to a great start. I just unplugged my monitor. Anyway, yeah. So I say let's get into it. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. Starting right off. So,
yeah.
It starts off with we hear Galadriel's voice, and she's giving a kind of the preset to what's coming on.
Excuse me, it is female voice per the subtitles.
You cannot tell me that is not her.
Per the subtitles, it is female voice.
Shut your mouth. Anyway, so we get Tauriel telling the backstory, kind of giving the thing to the rings.
Nah, fam, she dead.
Okay, but how?
Good question.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, we get a backstory to the rings. And I think in the previous three movies, holy cow, dude, 9 episodes of the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wow, holy cow. But anyway, we have learned this. But we get a backstory of the rings, and they were forged. 3 were given to the elves, who are described as immortal, wisest and fairest of all beings. There were 7 given to the dwarf lords, who are great miners and craftsmen in the mountains. And then 9 of them were given to men, who above all else desire power.
Jacob, I just want to say real
What?
quick right there, since I have the movie playing,
What?
right there for at least the 9 given to men, you were like
Yeah.
right in sync with the movie.
Oh, like I was reading it as you were watching it?
Not even as I was watching it, as the narrator was saying.
Holy cow, that must be trippy.
Am I on acid? Did I do something I didn't mean to do?
I don't know. But anyway, so they were given for strength and the will to govern each race, but they were deceived, as it says, because there was another ring made. The Dark Lord Sauron crafted the one ring to rule them all.
So,
Yes.
I do want to clarify right there.
Mm-hmm.
And per the movies, and if you just read the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that is how it's portrayed. Backstory wise, like like behind the scenes and whatnot, the actual rings were crafted. So Sauron assisted in crafting them, but it was actually crafted by another elf who Sauron had tricked. And so Sauron has the ability to be to look fair and look, like not all devilly bad person-y, right? And so he used like that ability to trick a great elven craftsman to assist him in making the rings.
Gotcha.
But per the books by themselves and the movies by themselves, it is portrayed as, Sauron creating them himself.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, okay. Well, anyway, we see that with him leading some armies of Mordor, they sought to take over Middle-earth. So brought forth this huge battle. Elves, men, and dwarves all fight the armies of Sauron. We got was he a man, the Isildur?
So
Was he a part of a group of, or the race of men? Not was he
yes,
a man? I mean,
but he
pretty
was.
evident.
And it's backstory you don't get in the books and in the movies.
I take it mainly comes from like Silmarillion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for those that don't know what the Silmarillion is, it's basically like the origin story for Middle Earth.
Yeah, like how everything was created,
it's like the Bible for Christianity, but the origin story for Middle Earth.
Yeah. Okay.
But so yes, Isildur is a man.
Okay.
But he is part of a race of men that have extended life. They live a lot longer than like your typical man or like people nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's partially due to him having like elvish blood in him.
Okay.
And so it's also weird with Isildur as well because he's not where they're fighting right now is Mordor. For anybody that couldn't pick that up from watching the movie, they're fighting in Mordor. But Isildur and his army that he has right here is not from. Trying to think of the name of the actual land. But they're not from the same land masses like we saw in The Hobbit and then into this movie. They're from an island that was, like way off the coast, like not even within like visual range if you're standing on the coast, and they came to assist the elves and men in them that were struggling through this this war that happened.
So he is the son of the king of those people.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then you did say dwarves, and that is correct. That dwarves are in this battle.
Yeah.
And I was curious of why you thought dwarves though, because you don't see dwarves in the movie.
You don't?
No.
I could have sworn it showed, the group of those fighting Sauron, and I was pretty sure elves, men, and dwarves were part of it. Was that not part of the narration?
No, per the narration, it's men and elves.
Was it in the, do you see dwarves in the scene?
No.
Oh,
That's why I was wondering how you got dwarves, because you are right, there are dwarves at this battle.
I don't know. Maybe it was through you saying something, or I was just flat out wrong. I don't know.
But
But
you weren't wrong. That's the thing though, because
well,
like
no, but I meant
the
like
movie doesn't
wrong
show it.
in
The
my
movie
reasoning
doesn't.
of saying it. You know,
Okay,
like wrong
gotcha.
in the basis that got me there, but not the conclusion itself. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and because
I
like
don't
you
know,
were
but
correct, per the actual events of this battle, though they don't show it in the film here.
hmm,
Dwarves were a big part of this battle as well.
gotcha.
And another thing, Thranduil, the elf king
Mm-hmm.
from The Hobbit, his father dies in this battle.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting. But
and
back
so like,
to yeah, no, go.
sorry, I was just with this battle, and I'll go more in depth as we hit the points in the sequence of events here. But there's a lot of big figures that do die in this specific battle. Um,
Hmm,
Although, like, unless you've read books and whatnot, you wouldn't realize they're very big figures or like very instrumental figures to the world up until this point.
gotcha. So back to Isildur, Isildur,
Isildur?
Isildur. I tried to go based on how the person said it.
Yeah.
But now I don't remember how they said it, and I wrote my own like pronunciation, and oh boy. But anyway, Isildur, right? Isildur, yeah.
More like the door at the end. Isildur.
Door, more
But
of a
it's
door.
whatever. I know who you're talking
Isildur. We'll just go with that. But anyway, is the son of the king and took up his father's sword to try to defeat Sauron, because in the battle we see Sauron approaching him. He goes to pick it up. Sauron stomps on it and just completely shatters it. But Isildur swung the like bottom half, because the hilt of it and the like bottom half of the blade was still intact. Swung it at Sauron's hand, cutting off his fingers and with them the ring. Without the
about.
ring, Sauron exploded
Yeah.
and was defeated. Go ahead.
And personally, I think we're going a little fast through this just to try and point some stuff out.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really count on. I guess I should at this point, but I wasn't really counting on you pointing out every single detail. I thought maybe we'd go like through the battle, and then you could maybe touch on like key events that happened throughout it. But I guess if you want to point them out as we go, I mean,
Yeah, I was just kind of gonna go that way as visually seeing them for me at least. But
well, if you want to, you go ahead and lead us through up until the point I just said.
okay, so I'm trying to think of. Okay,
I see you're just
so
making stuff up.
what's that?
Nothing.
Um, so the battle, as I said before, it's men and elves in the film, men, elves, and dwarves, as it's told in the books. And this is referred to as the Battle of the Last Alliance for an actual like head name for it.
Hmm.
And this is actually the last battle of a very long war that has been happening. And you remember when we were doing The Hobbit, when I was talking about the kingdom of Angmar swooping down and like taking over a lot of land and whatnot?
Yeah.
That happened during this time, like
Okay.
prior to this battle, but same time frame, same era.
Okay.
And so we do have, like you said, we have Isildur here and his father, who not Elendil, something like that. Drawing a blank on what the actual name is now. It's
Illiterate?
something close to that. Not even close, Jacob. Oh man.
Get on with it.
You're seeming very hostile, and I need you to stop. The elven leaders for one group, which is the group we end up seeing here in the film, is Galahad, who's like the High King of the elves, and then Elrond, who we got introduced to in The Hobbit. And as I had kind of commented before as well, Thranduil is actually in this battle, and his father is in this battle, leading their group of Mirkwood elves. They refused to like have their warriors take command from another leader, so they had their own group. And actually, the reason Thranduil's father dies is because he completely ignores like the battle plan that they had for this and just goes charging in and gets surrounded.
So now we don't see them in this movie, though, right?
No, we do not.
I didn't. Okay, I didn't.
So Galahad, we will see. It's a very
Oh,
brief scene. I don't know if you recall, Jacob. At one point, you see one elf like stabbing down with a spear.
oh yeah.
That's Galahad,
Oh, okay.
and I might be completely using the wrong name, but I'm pretty sure that's the name. And then I don't know who the dwarven leaders are for the battle. I honestly I don't even have a name to try and remember.
Okay.
But per the film, we do see the four like big rulers, the four leaders of the different armies.
Yeah.
And we really get the start of the battle. I gotta turn the volume down on my computer. Holy, that's loud. Okay. But we do see the battle start out with Elrond giving like a command to fire his arrow for the elves to fire, and then it's a sequence of fighting,
Yeah.
going from different groups to different groups. And it does reach at that point. Elrond looks up. And it goes from Elrond to Isildur, and we see Isildur's father, and they're all looking up, seeing Sauron approaching. And as Isildur's father charges forward, gets freaking smoked to the side, and it is actually killed in that moment. And we do get to see some of Sauron's like his real power here, as he's like flinging his mace back and forth, sending bodies flying.
Oh, he is sending them, dude.
Yeah.
He's like unrelenting force. Just
Yeah.
Fusrodab.
Like he is like straight up launching bodies. It's not like one or two. It's like 8 or 9 at a time.
Yeah.
It's like launching bodies left and right as he's swinging. And as you had said, Isildur grabs his father's sword as Sauron steps on it, breaking it, and cuts the ring from Sauron's hand. But it's like, and I'm going to equate this back to Star Wars. So it's like with, I guess, if you guys have not seen the movies, like, get with the times. I mean, come on. It's like the whole thing with Darth Sidious, right? Where he's like, the dark side is the pathway to many abilities, blah, 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 blah. And then we see him later on, that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's something very similar with this, except instead of the dark side is what's keeping him alive, the ring itself has, like, Sauron's soul in it. Like, part of his soul into it. So, with the ring not being destroyed, Sauron is still alive. Or I think a better comparison would be Voldemort with the Horcrux from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't remember that one too much.
Essentially,
but
Voldemort
I get what's going on now.
Yeah,
though. I get it.
For those that are confused, that are listening, Voldemort made Horcruxes to keep himself alive. He put part of his soul into different items. And so, like, if his body is destroyed, he's still alive because his soul is still alive. It's essentially the same thing here, except Sauron has one Horcrux, the ring, compared to Voldemort's 20 billion of them.
Okay.
And I think you were starting to say when I had interrupted, and I apologize. Earlier, at this point, we see Sauron like kind of like crumple a little bit and then just explode outwards.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, it literally shows like the entire armies of like the men and elves just fall over like from the blast wave.
I
don't know if the blast wave would really be that powerful, but hey, whatever. Tomato, potato.
Yeah, well. But anyway, yeah, so now we're back up to where I was. But yeah, we see Isildur pick up the ring. He picks it up he picks up Sauron's finger.
Yeah.
And then like as he's holding the ring and the finger in his hand, the ring or the finger just kind of crumples away.
Yeah, it almost like turns to dust.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark,
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Basically like that kind of deteriorating. But anyway, instead of destroying it, he keeps it. He uses it then, well, actually, that's skipping ahead a little bit, but
And
he
I do want
keeps it.
to, yeah, I want to clarify real quick for anybody that's wondering. The
Hmm.
events right here that we are seeing with Isildur is like 3,000 years before the events of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. For anybody that
Right.
might be confused on the timeline here, this is like
Yes.
3,000 some odd years before.
And
Just
so
for
this
clarification.
actually, this is brought up a little bit later because in the narration, I'll touch on it after this, after we see what becomes of the ring. For the time being, it does
Yeah.
say that, but it's in my notes, so I'll touch it when we get there.
And then
But
I do want to point out as well, and it's another because they do a time skip without really telling you they're doing a time skip here. With these events that we're about to see with the Isildur, like after he holds the ring and it cuts to the new scene with him on the horse.
yeah, okay,
It's like a 2-year time skip right
2 years, okay,
Yeah, so he's had the ring for a little while
okay,
now. And so like as we saw with Bilbo in The Hobbit, the ring kind of like starts to like pull on the person that's holding it, starts to like
mm-hmm,
corrupt them very slowly. So like he's had it for like 2 years. So it's been like slowly corrupting him and kind of like messing with his mind.
yeah. But we do see him, and he's got it like on a necklace. He's riding a horse, and they are attacked. I think by orcs, yeah.
Yeah.
And so he slips that ring on, and as we've seen in The Hobbit, he becomes invisible. Like that's generally the effect of the
And
of the
it's
ring.
not
It
even like he
seems.
slips the ring on. It's like he does it while his soldiers are being slaughtered.
Oh yeah, he doesn't he does it to escape, but at the expense of like, oh, I'm getting out of here, not defending
Yeah.
them.
And actually, Isildur's son dies in this battle right here.
Oh,
Where we see Isildur get shot in the back by 3 arrows. His son, and again, it's not said in the movies. It's more of a book thing, But his son does die in this battle as well. One of his
okay.
sons.
Well, yeah, and you just kind of gave away the next part, but yeah, Isildur, he gets, becomes invisible, runs off, and he like dives into some water to, I think, like
Yeah.
try to swim away.
I would
But
assume
in
that
doing
was his
so,
goal.
yeah, but in doing so, the ring slips off of him, making him then visible again. And as he's reaching for it, being like, "Oh no, it's fallen to the bottom of the river," the orcs, shoot him in the back, and you see blood kind of surrounding him, and he just floats.
And if you think back to The Hobbit, the first movie, when Saruman is talking with Gandalf and Elrond and Galadriel,
Mm-hmm.
when he's like, the ring was slipped out to the ocean. It's at the bottom of the bottom of the ocean now. Like he said something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like this right here is how he gets that assumption. Like Isildur lost it here and it just got swept out after after he died here. This is kind of like where that assumption comes from.
Yeah. But as the general assumption is, the ring is lost. Then it goes down to the bottom. Obviously, when we watched the Hobbit, we know that that's not the case, and we will learn soon that it's not. But the narrator says history became legend, which became myth, and 2,500 years later, it passed basically out of knowledge. Like not many people really even know about it now.
Yeah, or if they
because
do
of how
know
it's
about
become.
it, I would imagine it's more of like a tall tale, like a
Urban legend, kind of a
urban
old,
legend,
like,
bedtime
tale.
story
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah, so that now, whatever. But we do see that, someone found it in a river, and the creature Gollum, who took it to the depths of the Misty Mountains, and it consumed him, and brought him 500 years of this prolonged and poisoning, unnatural life.
And so the Misty Mountains, again, for clarification, The Hobbit, that whole thing with the goblin tunnels and whatnot, that's in the Misty Mountains.
Yep.
So, like,
Now,
where we see Bilbo get the ring from Gollum
Misty Mountains.
is literally like Gollum's been hiding in that giant cave, that thing right there, and eating there and whatnot. That's where he's been for like 500 years.
Yeah. There was a comment that said in here that a shadow came from the east. Now, if we look back at The Hobbit, that is where Sauron was banished to, right?
Yeah.
So
He
he's
was banished back to the east because again, if you're looking at a map of Middle Earth, like Mordor is like the farthest east you see in most Middle Earth maps.
oh, okay.
It's like on the eastern, like literally the eastern side of the map, and then you have like all the different like good people on the central and western side of the map for the most part.
Gotcha. But we do see that the ring was lost by Gollum and picked up by Bilbo. It's very loosely touched on in this, but as we did see, there was a scene of that exactly happening that we have covered already.
Well,
but
and
that
too
happens.
here, where she's saying like what you're saying where Gollum loses the ring and the whole shadow coming from the east type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
That's literally like the events of the Hobbit, is
Yeah.
what she's referring to there without actually referring to them.
Okay, yeah. But then we see we kind of enter into Bilbo in his home, and he's looking over the map of Middle Earth.
Is it?
I don't
Middle
think that
Earth?
this one.
I don't. Sorry, I don't.
This one's not the same. Okay, so I don't know if it's the entirety of Middle Earth, but it's not the same map as like the one we saw at the end of the
Oh
Hobbit.
no, yeah, you're right. It is Middle Earth. I couldn't remember if it was Middle Earth or if it was Erebor. But as we
Gotcha.
see,
No,
he's got a lot of different maps, kind of in
He does, yeah.
kind of sprawled out.
Yeah. But anyway, then we get the title card, Fellowship of the Ring across the screen. And then Bilbo is sitting there and he's writing. Well, on a piece of paper. He's got really nice handwriting. But he's going and he's saying, he's titling it There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins. So he's writing, he's writing his story.
He's writing the book of the Hobbit.
Right. And he describes hobbits. He says they've been living and farming in the Shire for hundreds of years. They're not great warriors, nor are they very wise. And he kind of laughs. In this, we also see that somebody knocks at the door and he calls for Frodo to answer it. And then he goes back to kind of describing hobbits. He says that it has been remarked that hobbits' main interest is food. Bilbo then comments, he's like, but that's unfair because they also like ale and smoking pipe weed. And then he lists a few other kind of funny things.
Yeah.
And
pipe weed is not actual weed for those people that are thinking that. It is just tobacco.
It's crack cocaine.
Yeah. It's tobacco.
Yeah.
For those that have those dirty, druggy minds.
Yeah, but anyway, we do see that all the hobbits are setting up for a party. Yeah, and eventually we do see them hang up a sign that says happy birthday to Bilbo. So it's like they're getting ready to celebrate Bilbo's birthday.
And he does mention as well that hobbits do enjoy, growing things. Like they enjoy the peaceful, like the farming life. Mm-hmm. They're not like really any other race in Middle Earth. They're content with where they are. They don't need to expand. They don't need to do all this adventuring. They're just content. They're happy where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you do have some of those outliers like Bilbo who does go on adventures and then, has a certain wishfulness to go on more adventures. But for the most part, hobbits are more of just let's go get drunk and smoke some tobacco.
You really do catch me off guard with that. I gotta jot down the time.
It just fell in place. It was like getting drunk and smoke tobacco.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, okay. So yeah, they're celebrating. They're setting up for the celebration of Bilbo's birthday. We see Bilbo call again for Frodo to see like he's like, answer the door, will you? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we cut to seeing Frodo, and he's just sitting up against a tree. He's not home, and
No,
he's
reading a book.
just he's just reading,
Yeah.
and he hears this humming, and so he takes off running. Like after he realizes what it is, he smiles and he takes off running, and he finds Gandalf driving
He finds
a little
old
cart.
Mandalf.
Yeah, and he finds him just driving a little cart pulled by a horse and just heading along, and he comments to Gandalf. He's like, "You're late," and Gandalf replies with, "A wizard is never late. He arrives exactly when he means to." And they kind of like look at each other for a little bit, and then Gandalf has a freaking stroke or something. No, he like starts to like kind of smirk. And then they kind of giggle and they laugh to one another. And then Frodo jumps into the cart with him, and they chat a little bit. Frodo says that Bilbo has been acting a bit odd lately. He's been poring over old maps when no one is looking, when he thinks no one is looking.
Yeah.
And we kind of cut to Bilbo. He's looking around in his place, and he's like kind of moving some stuff around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just want to say just because like since we have covered the Hobbit already, like during this talk between Frodo and Gandalf, we get references back to the Hobbit as well, which I enjoy personally.
Yeah, I've picked up on a good amount of them later on, but I don't. I'll let you go ahead with this one.
Yeah. So at this part, Frodo is kind of talking about we Bagginses used to be very well thought of, like very respectable and whatnot, until you came around, And, Gandalf kind of retorts back with, like, if you're talking about the events with the dragon, I was barely involved.
Oh, I had that coming up. Yeah, I didn't get to that yet.
Oh, that might... Go ahead. But yeah, like, he refers back to that, and I just think those small little things there are kind of cool, because, like...
Well, yeah,
film-wise... For The Hobbit, there was the only film that was out for The Hobbit when these were released was an old cartoon one from like the 70s or 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And so like a lot of people who watched Lord of the Rings when it came out didn't know The Hobbit was a thing, or if they did, they didn't realize the referencing back to The Hobbit that is happening here.
Yeah.
And so I just personally find it really cool that like there's they do make these references.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, and a lot of them, I guess I agree with you in the way that I think it was you that said we should watch it in this way. Was it you? Which way were you kind of promoting?
I personally thought, and I still do think that you should watch the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and then go back and watch The Hobbit.
Oh, okay. Well, I really like the way that we chose to watch it because there is, and it plays off of each other in one way or another. But in this, like in these moments, I'm really like, it's really fun that I know what they're referring to.
Well, and see, I like to take it on the other side of that. I like to watch these ones first, hear the references, and not understand them right away. But then when I go back and watch The Hobbit, it's like, oh my God, that's what they were talking about.
See, and I can see that, but with my own way of thinking, I feel like it would be like, oh, I wonder what he's talking about, and then I would forget about it by the time I watch those movies, so then it's like I wouldn't draw the connection. Whereas if I have the knowledge beforehand and then hear it, it's like, oh, there's the connection. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it can go both ways, I feel like, and there's probably not a distinct good way of doing it. It just, own preference and whatnot. Yeah. But anyway, in that moment before, like when he was saying that, Bilbo's acting weird, we do see Bilbo kind of frantically searching for something, and he ends up finding it in his pocket, and it's the ring. He's become attached to it, and he's kind of,
Well, and I mean, because we get to see it a little bit with Isildur's reaction to having the ring for roughly 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Bilbo has had the ring for 60 plus years.
Right. Yeah.
And so
he hasn't had
depends.
it 500, but he's still, yeah.
And honestly, it does really depend on whether you're taking into account whether you're watching the movies. Or no, I guess for book to movie it's the same. At the end, between Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, it's 60 years. I was thinking of a different time jump.
Yeah.
But like Bilbo's had it for 60 years, and so it's had that time, to
To influence
work on
him
him,
and
to
have its
influence him and
yeah.
whatnot.
Mhm.
And I will definitely say, like, Bilbo does have a very strong resilience or like resistance to it, because and I would even venture to say that, like, anyone else, like, you take Joe Schmo out there in the Hobbiton somewhere who picks up the ring and finds it, he's gonna fall to it instantly.
Mhm.
And I would even say, like, you take Legolas, who I can say that because we were introduced to him in the last one, so you stop that,
Yeah.
Jacob. But you take like Legolas, even if he were to pick up the ring, I don't think he would be able to hold on to it for very too long before falling to the corruption.
Yeah. It's very if you don't have that strong, I guess, well, like you said, resistance,
Yeah.
resilience, to it, or that strong will, I guess. I don't know how you want to word it, but
Yeah, and
it would have its influence on you, and it
Yeah.
is this influencing poorly, like this, bad influence kind of, thing. So it's like you do
yeah,
have to have your
and
guard up, and
it's, I mean, earlier in the film it does say that, Sauron poured his cruelty, malice, and will to dominate all life into the ring. So, like, that's the type of stuff that's influencing people when they see it or when they hold it. Like,
yeah,
that's the influence it's having on them. That, and
yeah,
also trying to get them to take it back to Sauron himself.
yeah. But yeah, and so that's he finds it, but he's definitely panicking because
Yeah.
it's got his influence on him. It's almost like, trying to, it's like an addiction. So
Yeah,
we go back
it's a
to
very powerful, like,
right,
next level up addiction. Like,
yeah. But Frodo he says he's up to something. Like something's going on. He's been acting really weird. And
Yeah.
Gandalf just kind of looks like, man, interesting. Like
this
kind of like,
is
I
the
don't
part
know
I was
anything.
referring to earlier.
Exactly.
I jumped ahead on accident.
And you're fine. But Frodo gets he gives that meme moment that we're kind of like used to now, where he's like, all right, keep your secrets.
Yeah.
But yes, and then Gandalf goes, if you're referring to the incident with the dragon, I had nothing to do with that. I only nudged your uncle out the door. And yeah, we're looking back to Smaug. And,
And I like Frodo's response, though, to that, too. He's
Yeah.
like, well, whatever you did, you've officially been labeled a disturbance of the peace.
a disturber of the peace.
Yeah. And he's just like, well, really? Well, shoot. Oops.
Yeah. But apparently Gandalf is known for his fireworks, as all these children are cheering for him as they approach. And then Gandalf just goes on through them, like, he runs them over. He just demolishes it. No, he goes on through. They step aside, whatever. But then they kind of look at him like kind of disappointed that he didn't really acknowledge it. And then he sets one off from the back of the cart, and they all get like excited.
Well, and I like it's a little short clip of this scene right here. And instead of fireworks, it's like a missile, and he just blows all the kids up.
Wait, is that a meme that somebody did of it?
It's like, I guess it's not a meme because memes are like photos, but it's just like a short
No,
clip.
memes can be videos. The meaning of meme is actually like a sociological kind of term.
Oh,
if something's
I guess
mimetic,
it's a meme then, yeah. But like,
but
it's
regardless,
just like a short clip meme, and it's like he sets it off, and instead of being fireworks, it's a rocket, and just blows up all the kids.
That's awesome. I want to see that.
And then it shows him riding away slowly, laughing.
I want to see that so bad. But anyway, so yeah, Gandalf sets some off. Then he approaches Bilbo's home after Frodo has jumped off of the cart. And then we get the ending scene of The Hobbit.
Man, Jacob, you just imagine if, like, as Frodo's jumping off that cart, he trips and just gets run over.
Dude, there are so many, like, if you could make edits, that'd be funny.
And I will give you a heads up right now, Jacob, and our listeners. Frodo is my least favorite character.
You have told me this.
All of Lord of the Rings. and I will get into that later when we hit those specific scenes of why. But just as a heads up, he is
Yeah.
my least favorite of the entire Lord of the Rings characters.
Yeah. I guess for me, I haven't seen a ton of his character yet. What I have seen, I think, is mainly dampened because of comparing him to Bilbo.
I would agree.
In The Hobbit, I very much enjoyed Bilbo. I loved his character.
Yeah.
In this, I'm kind of comparing him, and I'm like, man, but I don't hate him, or anything.
I'll just say this, Jacob. Frodo is no Bilbo.
No, and I at least have been able to establish that much. I've learned that.
Like, Bilbo is a bad dude. Like, doesn't seem like it with individual events, but when you look at what he's done as a whole, like, he is a bad dude. And then you see Frodo, who just gets carried along the entire adventure.
Yeah, and when you say bad dude, you mean like a kick butt, like kind of dude, not like he's
straight up evil. He is the Dark Lord.
He is what was the one guy's name? What was the one like above Sauron? Never mind. You get what I was trying to go for, but anyway, but we do, Gandalf approaches Bilbo's home and knocks on the door, and we get that final scene of The Hobbit enacted from the other point of view, because we then see he goes, Bilbo shouts from inside, and he goes, "No, thank you. We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations." And then Gandalf replies, "And what about very old friends?"
And this was the scene when we were talking about it right there at the end of The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
And you had kind of made the comment of, like, well, where's Frodo at? And I was like, you'll see that he's not around, like, the house when we get to this point in the movie.
Yeah, and I was thinking back, and I was like, I thought that it was, for some reason, I had the wrong scene in mind. And I don't even think it was a scene. I think I merged multiple scenes, and whatever. It wasn't the right one. I get where, whatever.
Yeah.
But Bilbo opens the door and runs out to hug him. Like, and I thought it was, part of me was being like too analytical, because I was thinking back in The Hobbit, he says, "And what about very old friends?" And Bilbo jumps up and runs over to the door and then opens it. And in this, he says it and then like immediately just he opens up. And I was like, the timing's wrong, inconsistency, but whatever.
But
Either way, he runs out and hugs
here
her
as well, right as they hug. 111 years old.
Right. Yep. That's how old Bilbo is.
If we think about that, right, it's a 60-year time difference between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Bilbo was 51 years old when he went on his adventure for The Hobbit.
Yeah. Yep.
And just for some context, I'm sure for you as well, Jacob, hobbits are not considered full adults until like 31, 32 years old.
Okay.
And so like when they get into their 20s, it's known as their tweens. That's their reference to it.
I gotcha.
And once we get introduced to some of the other characters here in this first episode as well, I will give some age ranges of where they're actually at age-wise, because it's a significant gap, but it doesn't look like when you see the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're looking at actors that are a little bit older, and we're gauging them by our own kind of like, reference point as far as, and it's slightly different.
Partially that, but it's also to the point where, like, and I can say Frodo's as of where it is right now in the film.
Okay.
Frodo is roughly 30-ish.
Okay.
Late 20s into early 30s at this point in the movie, but when you see him, he looks like he's maybe early 20s,
Yeah, okay. So there's
it's just like the actors look younger than the characters actually are.
And that could be just like you said with the developmental process that they go through. It's like their midlife is different than ours, but anyway, so Gandalf comes into the home. Bilbo welcomes him in, and he comes in, and Bilbo runs off to get wine, but Gandalf asks for tea instead, and then he hits his head on the chandelier and the beams on the ceiling because it's a Hobbit's home,
Oh no, that's not because it's a Hobbit's home, Jacob.
Okay.
That actor, he actually did that on accident.
Oh.
Like his
Well, but
reaction to hitting that
size,
beam, that his
yeah.
reaction to hitting that beam is a genuine reaction of him actually smoking his head off of that beam.
Oh, geez.
And they kept
Well,
it in. He just rolled with it.
I guess okay. That's a cool behind the scenes kind of. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. That's funny when it happens. I think it's funny when things are unintended and they keep them in the movie, but you don't
Yeah.
know that they're unintended until you see the
Exactly.
behind the
Because,
scene.
like, it makes
scene
sense,
stuff.
though.
But
You
yeah, it
know?
does. But like at the same time, that is because it's a Hobbit's thing. You know, they
Yeah.
set it up to be that way. But him, I guess, yeah. In my reasoning, it's like kind of right, but not fully. Like it's not meant to have happened.
Well,
but
yeah,
it did.
like the sense there is like, it makes sense that this would happen. But it was totally unintended in the filming of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they did not intend for him to smoke his head off of that beam. It accidentally happened as he turned.
But yeah, Bilbo's running off and he's getting some tea because that's what Gandalf ended up
Yeah.
being like, well, what about this? I don't want any wine.
And we do get another little throwback to The Hobbit here as well.
Yeah, because we do see that map
Yeah.
that Thorin gave Bilbo.
Yeah, we
And
see
we
the
saw
map
that
of
at
the
the-
Lonely Mountain again.
Right, yep. And, but then some relatives show up. He says that it's the, and they knock on the door and then he hears something. He's like, oh no, it's the, I wanted to say, I think it's like Baggins from something or someplace.
It's the Saxville Bagginses.
Saxville, yeah.
Yeah, and so if you remember, the chick that had Bilbo's spoons at the end of
Yeah,
The Hobbit.
that was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was younger Saxville Baggins.
He's like, those are my spoons, and he takes them and like, yeah, yep. But anyway, yeah, where are we? Oh, here. So yeah, the relatives show up, they knock, and he's hiding like behind the things. And he's like, they think I've lived too long. They want the house, kind of thing, and
Yeah.
even then we saw that in the Hobbit because they're they're there immediately, like, give me what I can get. But yeah, so he's hiding around. Then they leave. Gandalf tells him that Frodo suspects something. He's like, Frodo's onto you. Like, something's up. And
Well,
they talk. Go
I
ahead.
say Bilbo even kind of makes the comments of like wanting to go on adventures again. Like he
Yeah, he
misses
does.
the mountains. He misses exploring,
Mm-hmm.
and that type of stuff. But there's one thing here, and we see it between Gandalf and Frodo later on in the film as well.
Mm-hmm.
With them talking when they have both of them in frame like this, with Bilbo's pouring Gandalf some tea and they're talking and whatnot. The way they actually had to film this,
Mm-hmm.
these scenes like this, is they'd have, Gandalf sitting at one point, and they'd have
Yeah.
Bilbo or Frodo like 8 feet down on the table, and they had to get at just the right angle so that way it looks like they're talking to each other and it looks like they're right in front of each other. And so like there's an interview and they're talking about it, and the actor that plays Gandalf even makes the comments of like, it was super hard to film those. Like, I don't know how many times we had to refilm it because one of us would look down the table at the other as we're replying to one of their lines. Just because it was such a weird angle to try and get
Yeah.
that filming to happen.
Yeah, I was kind of curious how they've done the the size comparison, like
Yeah.
the sizes between the two, and that's a new one. I didn't really think about that. Part of me was like, well, really, if you were to take a video of don't touch the camera, take a video, have one person sitting there and talking, and then you can mask the layers and put them together, and then it's like, there you go, then you got both of them and they're different. And I was overcomplicating it. That makes sense. It's just perspective.
And two, you got to remember as well, this came out in 2001.
Right, but I mean, you
and
can
so,
still do that
they-
kind of stuff. It's not like a
Yeah.
modern kind of technique, maybe
I
in
would
the way you
imagine
were
it
to
was-
achieve it, but
I'd imagine right around that time frame though, like it was a lot harder to do, just like with it being a new thing.
yeah, that's fair. And who
But-
knows? I don't know how long we've come along,
Yeah, I don't know
how
either.
fast, whatever. But yeah, Frodo suspects something. They talk of something. Bilbo is going. He's planning on going someplace. He misses adventuring. Then Bilbo talks about how old he feels. He feels frail. But as he's doing this, he is fiddling with that ring in his pocket, and Gandalf does notice it.
Well, because Gandalf had even made the comment of like, Bilbo looks like he hasn't even aged a day, which I mean, like obviously he has, but like he's aging a lot slower than what he should be, and so like just because physically wise he's aging slower, he still feels very old. Like he still feels like he's 111 years old. His body just isn't aging at that same rate, but he still feels it. He still feels the weariness, and like he said, he feels like too little butter spread across too much bread. Like he just weary, tired, like how you feel when you're old.
Yeah, but yeah, he says that he needs a holiday, and kind of is like, and not the kind that basically that he's like, maybe I don't want to return from. I just want to go. I want to go someplace. Yeah. And then it cuts ahead to the evening, and they're sitting there and smoking that pipe, and they're doing fancy tricks with the smoke. Bilbo blows like a little ring. You look up any vaping thing on YouTube, I'm pretty sure you see somebody doing that. But then Gandalf takes his and he uses some magic with it, but he like blows it, and it, like a pirate ship like forms.
Yeah.
And then goes through the ring that Bilbo just, and they both kind of laugh at that. But then Bilbo says, "This will be a night to remember." And then we see fireworks going off, cakes being carried around. The people are really starting the celebration. Yeah. We see Bilbo talking to some people. We see Frodo talking to another hobbit who we learn is named Sam. Yeah. They're good friends. And actually, I think we saw him prior to now, but it was just kind of like there's somebody and onward. But now we get a name and a little bit more. But he is scared to ask a girl to dance, and Frodo just pushes him right over to her, and like he kind of stumbles, and she catches him, and then they begin to dance. Like he just kind of pushes him into it. Yeah.
We do see Gandalf launching off some fireworks as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Getting with the celebrations and whatnot. But it does jump to Bilbo right here as well, where he's...
Yeah. This was another one of those moments.
Yeah,
too.
He's telling the tale to like these children of like, his encounter with the three trolls.
Right.
And we just catch the end of it, the end of his tale here.
Yeah, yeah.
Where, he talks about, the light coming up and turning them all to stone.
Right. Well, because he does mention, he's like, I was at the mercy of three trolls. And it was basically that one where they're talking about different ways they can eat the dwarves and like this stuff. Yeah. We get a little bit of that, and then it mainly caps off with then the sun, rises up and turns them to dust and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he's telling it to children, and they're like, this is funny seeing them, like their eyes are like, oh, what? And then he's like, and then poof, they go to dust, and they all like jump. Yeah. And but it was But anyway, we do see two hobbits at this point, unnamed, stealing some fireworks from Gandalf.
Yeah.
Bilbo, we go back to him, mentions how a woman. Oh, he's talking about somebody with he's like, oh, so this one's your kid too, or whatever, and she's got like a train of them going in front of her, and he's like, well, you've been productive. But anyway,
he does hear one of the Saxville Baggins' talk, and he turns to Frodo, and they quickly hide real quick.
Hides. Mm-hmm. And he gets like this kind of like emotional, kind of like a heart to heart in a way moment with Frodo, and he just tells him, he's like, I didn't take you in out of pity because you're or whatever, he's like, I want you because it was something like you were the only Baggins that shows spirit, or he was unique, and he's like, you'll be all right you'll be all right.
And this is where we really first get confirmed that Frodo's parents are dead. It's a small little detail that's not important to the story per se, Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of like one of those little details that we get here.
Yeah. But meanwhile, that firework that the other two stole, they have it, and they're in a tent, and they're like, they light it, but then they're like trying to hold it. Why did they light it? They're in a tent. That part I don't really fully understand, but
couldn't call it.
but anyway, they light it, and it sets off, and it just takes the tent with it, goes flying up. It blows up, and everyone cheers, and then it turns into this dragon, like, because it's it's a magical firework,
Yeah.
right? It blows up, and instead of forming like a star or whatever, it forms into a dragon, and then swoops down, and they all start freaking out and running from it. And then it like just kind of fades a little bit, goes across a pond, and then blows up again.
Yeah.
And then they all start cheering.
Well, and then we do see Gandalf come behind the two hobbits that had launched, and we actually get their names here.
Yes, but they were sitting there. At first, they're like, "Whoa, that was really good. Let's go get another one." And then at that moment, Gandalf grabs their ears, and he's like,
And so we have Meriadoc, Brandybuck, or Mary for short, and Peregrine Took, or Pippin for short.
Okay.
And the two hobbits.
And notice though, also in the Hobbit, when we were covering that last name Took.
Yep.
Right. Is Bilbo's mother's maiden name.
Yeah.
Right. So are they're probably like cousins.
It's distant. Yeah, cousins, distant relations.
Probably
of
distant,
some sort.
but some relation.
And I will say, because we've been introduced to the four of them now, the four hobbits of the journey.
Yes.
Literally right now,
Yeah.
When the journey actually starts.
Yeah.
Frodo is I think he's 51 as well. When it actually starts, when he actually goes off and starts his journey and all of that. Sam, I think he's in his 40s. 40s or 30s, but these two are like in their 20s when it starts.
Okay.
And so when you look at the four of them side by side, though, it looks like they're roughly all the same age.
Yeah.
But in reality, there's a good 20 or 30 year age gap across the four of them.
Yeah. But then it cuts ahead and we see them doing some dishes with Gandalf. Kind of, I take it as like punishment, right?
Yeah.
They're helping him out because they were doing that. Gosh dang it, dude. Okay, here's a really quick incentive to go ahead and go to our Discord. Okay, please go follow that and stuff. Join it, have some conversations, because I put my notes in there, and in this kind of instance, you would see my misspellings, because as I write, Biblo gives a speech. So I mistype so much, I swear, and it irritates me rereading it because I don't notice it when I'm doing it. But apparently his name's Biblo. Anyway, but really quick, before we continue, when I said that, I looked over to the time, and we're roughly about an hour in, probably more so 50 minutes, but I want to take a quick sponsor break at this point.
I'll allow it. And there is a little book difference here that I would like to point out before we go into his actual speech.
Okay, sounds good. But anyway, resuming. Biblo gives a speech, but before we get into that, go ahead, Evan.
So in this speech that we hear here with here.
No, you were right.
Bilbo, I am not.
No, you were right, because you said in this speech that we hear here. It sounds weird, but two different versions, So you were right in how you phrase things.
But in this speech, in the books, it's only I want to say it's only like 50 people, 50 hobbits.
Okay.
That are here for this speech, because Bilbo kind of does it in private, and like a kind of a sectioned off area. But here in the movie, we see all the hobbits, like everybody. Yeah,
it's a large crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those small little differences that you really don't pick up on, but I thought it's kind of cool. Just the differences there between the book and the movie.
Yeah. But I thought it was really funny how his speech went, because he like addresses everybody and is like, thank you. I couldn't ask for a better group of people basically to be here. But then he goes on to go, he goes, I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less of you I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
Yeah. He's insulting them without actually insulting them.
Yes, but it was like such a kind of confusing way of putting it that I had to like write it down word for word, and I just messed up how it phrased. Let me see if I can get it right. He said, I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. So it's like...
I like the way he says it, too, because, like, you see the confused look on the crowd.
Yeah, they're like... And I like how you also hear a couple of them clapping.
Yeah.
Like, some of them are like, well, I thought it was a positive thing. Is it? I don't...
Well, I think it's funny, though, because, like, if you look specifically at, like, one or two faces, like, a couple of them get it, but they're like, all right, which one do I fall into? Does he not like me, or does he wish he knew me better?
Yeah, because, I mean, that's essentially what he's saying.
Yeah.
He says, I don't know half of you guys as well as I should, or as well as I'd like to. And then I like lesser than half of you, about half as well as you deserve, or whatever. He's kind of like,
yeah.
Some of you I don't know as well as I'd like, and others I
just
shouldn't
don't like
you. Yeah. But anyway.
And you see Gandalf here, too, and he has that kind of look on his like, he gets it. He knows what Bilbo's saying, and he finds it funny, but he can't laugh because people are going to look at him weird.
Yeah. But as he's doing this, he reaches for his pocket again, and he's like, says he has things to do. And he says, I regret to announce this is the end. I'm going now. And I bid you all a very fond farewell. And he says goodbye, and he slips the ring on behind his back. He turns invisible, and he takes off running home. But when he did that, everybody's like, whoa, wait, what? What just happened? They're freaking out. And he just slips away and runs home. But when he gets home...
Gandalf, though, like, because you see Gandalf's face again there, too. Like, Gandalf instantly knows what's going on. He's like, this little bugger.
Yeah.
Like, you little... Yaw.
But when he gets home, Gandalf is there. And he like confronts him. He's like, I suppose you believe that was very clever. And he starts talking about magic rings, how none of them should be used God bless America, this freaking... As none should be used lightly. Another typo. And he continues... Bilbo continues picking up things and packing up. Says that the ring will go to Frodo, and it is on an envelope on the fireplace. But he recognizes that he just completely was wrong there. Like it was in his pocket all along. It's like he used it. He didn't put it on the fireplace, but it was almost like that. I kind of took it as that ring being like, we're not parting yet. You keep me. Kind of like, so he was like, oh, it's over there. Just kind of shrug it off and be like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Would you kind of perceive it as that? Or do you think he's just kind of not aware of things?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, like, part of him genuinely did think he left it over on the fireplace. But I do think part of it as well is, like, the ring influencing him a little bit. Like, oh, he's about to go on an adventure. That might give me opportunity to get back to my master. That might, I think it's a little bit of both there.
Okay. But, yeah, so he says that. He's like, it's on an envelope on the fireplace. And then he kind of stops and he's like, wait a minute. No, it's right here in my pocket. And he takes a look at it and he starts talking to himself. And he goes, another meme moment, which is one of the ones. So he goes, after all, why not? Why shouldn't I keep it? And that's kind of like the meme that I sent you, Evan, where I thought it was completely you, to where it was like showing him holding a box of crayons, and it goes, after all, why not? Why shouldn't I eat them? But anyway, Gandalf suggests that he leaves the ring behind. He's like, isn't that so hard? Just leave the ring behind here. Just go. And Bilbo kind of gets angry. He's talking like rapidly. And he goes, and this is the ring talking, not him, I guess.
Yeah.
Really. And he goes like, I should keep it. I found it. It came to me. It's mine. And then he refers to it as my precious. And Gandalf goes,
my precious.
Yeah. No, Gandalf doesn't do that. No, but he goes, it's been called that before, but not by you. So basically being like, those aren't your words.
Yeah.
And he shouts at Gandalf, but Gandalf gets really tall and scary.
Well, and
And
because
he
Bilbo accuses Gandalf.
yeah,
It's like you want
trying to
you
steal
want
it.
it for yourself. Like that's why you want me to leave it behind. It's not for Frodo. It's not for what you're trying to tell me. It's for you want it. And again,
Yeah, he
it's
gets
one of
very
those
accusatory or yeah, whatever.
yeah, it's one of those moments
Ah.
where like the ring is taking over at this point for like a brief short, like tiny short span of time.
Yeah, before Gandalf snaps him back into his place, because
Yeah.
he gets very like there's a low rumbling around and the light's kind of dimmer and he's like in a very deep kind of like a bellowing voice. He goes, "Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks. I am not trying to rob you." And he's like, he kind of like lowers down a little bit and like quiets down. He's like, "I'm trying to help you." And Bilbo like is very scared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would be too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But he takes off. He like runs into Gandalf's arms and he like hugs him and he's just like basically like, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry, Mom. Don't ground me, please.
And put the sandal away, please. Yeah.
No, please, not the head in the sand again, please.
Anyway, he asks Bilbo though to trust him and let the ring go. And he starts heading off. He's like, "All right, well, see ya." And he like takes off out the door and Gandalf stops him and he's like, "The ring's still in your pocket." And so he like takes out the ring, he stares at it, and then he drops it. And he starts leaving and he goes, "I think I just thought of an ending of my book." And he says that he like quotes it, "He lives happily ever after until the end of his days." And then he carries off singing and Gandalf says, "Well, until our next meeting." Kind of like, "See you, buddy."
Yeah.
And then Gandalf comes into the house and looks down at the ring that's still on the floor. And he starts to pick it up, but as he gets close, we get that sudden flash, the glimpse of the eye of Sauron, right?
Indeed.
Just that. And then it cuts ahead. Frodo comes in, and he's shouting for Bilbo. Gandalf is just staring into the like fire in the fireplace. And he's repeating like a couple different things, and one of them's like he literally says, "My precious."
Well, and it's not so much. I don't think that he's repeating it. He's like hearing it in his head. He's thinking. He's pondering it. Like, what kind of like ring or what kind of thing could like make Bilbo act?
Right. No, and I should clarify. When I said that he's repeating it, I don't mean out of this like it's influencing him. He's like trying to figure it out. Like he's contemplating. He's like, well, what is this?
Yeah.
He's repeating what has been occurring, and he's kind of like in more of like a, trying to figure it out kind of thing.
Well, because we do hear it in Bilbo's voice.
Yeah.
And so, and like you said, it's Gandalf. I would say at this point is just like, well, what is this thing? Like, how could it influence my friend like that? Like,
yeah.
What kind of thing could this be to change him so much like that in an instant?
Right. But anyway, Frodo comes in to talk about how Bilbo left, and he says that he talked about it for a while. Frodo says this. He's like, he talked about it for a while. I guess he finally did, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Gandalf says that Bilbo has gone to be with the elves, and we talked about that in a previous episode when we were talking about Rivendell. He looks back when the dwarves and him were leaving, when they were leaving Gandalf behind there. They look back, and you mentioned, you're like, that's not the last. He's really thinking about like, I want to go back there.
Yeah.
And you ended up commenting that he does go back there in his later years, and right now is that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At this point too, Gandalf grabs an envelope and hands it to Frodo and has him put the ring in the envelope.
Yep.
And Gandalf, or I guess Frodo's, asking where Gandalf is going because he's getting ready to leave and whatnot, and like quite a bit of a hurry. And Frodo's questioning him like, where are you going? Like, you only just got here. Like, when are you going to be back? And Gandalf just says he has questions that he needs answered. He needs to get the answers to this mystery. He needs to solve it.
Right.
Um,
And he just says, yeah, keep the ring secret and safe.
yeah.
But then we do cut to a massive fortress, like a castle. And in it, we do hear Gollum screaming. We hear that
Yeah.
voice, and we do see Mount Doom erupting.
And so this castle they are in is oh gosh, I just had the name. Not Dol Guldur. That was the old fortress in the Hobbit. I'm drawing
Right.
a blank on this fortress's name.
Have we talked about it before?
We have not. No, this is the first
Okay.
time we are seeing it.
Okay.
But as I'm sure you could have deduced, from the background and whatnot, this is in Mordor, and so with us hearing Gollum's screams, we can only assume that he's somehow, some way been captured.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do hear him scream two words. We hear him scream Shire and Baggins.
Yeah.
And then we do see some cloaked and like hooded riders come riding out of a gate.
And how many of them are there, though?
There may or may not be like 9-ish of them, just potentially, maybe, probably.
Yeah, like maybe
100%.
they're the 9 men.
Maybe.
But anyway, so Gandalf sees over a mountain, like he sees all the fire and such.
Yeah.
And he then approaches another castle type area, and goes into like a library.
Yeah, and so this right here actually is Minas Tirith.
Okay.
It's like the capital of Gondor. And so in the Hobbit, when Thranduil is talking to Bard, he's like, "You can give that to Ecthelion of Gondor. Give the Arkenstone to Ecthelion of Gondor." He mentions it just one time. This is the place he's referring to.
Okay.
And so, like I said, this is the capital of the Kingdom of Gondor.
Gotcha. But he reads more, and he reads about how Isildur found the ring. He hears that be referred to as precious. That, again, with that.
Yeah, he said it's
descriptor
something
that,
like
name.
Isildur says, like, it's precious to me or something like that.
Yeah, but it
you
kind of
know,
like sticks out.
Yeah,
because-
just that word, that precious, really sticks out in his head.
Right. And then we see the cloaked figures, the 9 men. I mean, come on. They're at the Shire, or at least, yeah. No, they're riding towards it at least, searching for Baggins, as they put it. They go, Shire Baggins, and someone's there very fearful, and he just like that way.
One thing I do want to point out when Gandalf is reading through the scrolls as well, the very last line there of it. Because he reads and it says, the writing that was so bright and like obvious on the ring faded to nothingness, or writing that only fire can tell.
Yeah.
And so that is a key piece of information for a little bit later in the movie, but not too much further.
Actually, I know exactly what you're talking about because I had the question like, oh wait, why is it like that?
Yeah.
So okay. But yeah, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, and so you don't actually get an answer as to why it's like that in the movie. But essentially, it's with the material that Sauron used and had help using, and the magic that is imbued into the ring, and where it was forged. The only way to reveal that writing is to expose the ring to intense heat. And it's just, again, like the magic that went behind it, the way it was crafted, the material it was made out of. All comes together to make it so in order to see it intense heat, whether it be fire or just like in the case of when we saw Sauron wearing it, just the heat he emits off of his body. Just that intense heat reveals what is written on it.
Yeah. But 9 men searching for Shire Baggins. Somebody points them in the right direction.
Yeah, and this hobbit does have a name because this is a hobbit.
Okay.
But it's something like Fatty Bulger or Fatty Bulger, something like that.
Interesting.
Is is how he's referred to. Yeah,
That's a crazy name.
I don't.
But anyway,
it's something along those lines. It's very similar to that.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but he does. They do
Yeah.
repeat the same words that we heard Gollum say.
Right.
Shire, Baggins, and he says, but the Bagginses aren't here. They're up at Hobbiton. That way, points him in the right direction as he flees into his house.
Right, and we see the hobbits, or our group. Wait, no, a couple of hobbits, not our entire group yet. We haven't been that fully assembled yet.
No,
but we see them in a bar. They're singing and chanting, not like chanting, but like they're singing like some tales and
stuff. And this point right here
things.
too is another big time jump.
Okay,
I don't know the exact. I don't know the exact time frame from where we saw Gandalf.
Okay.
Reading through the scroll and whatnot into this point. But for Gandalf to travel from the Shire over to Gondor,
yeah,
at a minimum is a good couple months.
Okay.
At the very minimum.
And that's where I was kind of questioning. I was wondering how much time has passed between these, because it doesn't really tell you.
No.
It's just like, oh, here's the next scene. This is happening now, and it's kind of evident that some time has passed. But it's like, well, how much has passed? Like,
well, and I'll say this: between the events of Bilbo's birthday party and Frodo leaving the Shire for his adventure is a 17-year time gap.
See, that is freaking crazy, because it is literally like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes in the film, but when it comes down to the actual timeline, it's a good
but it doesn't
it's at a minimum 17 years.
Right, but it doesn't
Bilbo's birthday
say
party.
that. It doesn't give you that much of an information. It's like, oh, it's been that much? Okay. But
and another thing you learn from the books as well is that Frodo and Bilbo they share the same birthday as well.
Oh.
So Bilbo's birthday party was also Frodo's birthday party.
Well, that one I did not know.
Yeah.
But
and so when Bilbo leaves trying to think what it is. When Bilbo leaves to where we saw here in this movie, he is 111.
Right.
Frodo is, when he leaves for his adventure 17 years later, is 51, I believe.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a big time gap as well. So I don't even think Frodo was born yet by the events of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that big time gap, they don't really do a good job of showing it in the films.
No.
And in the rest of the films and into the other two movies as well, like the rest of this film and the other two as well, they don't do a very good job in showing the time difference. And I'll try to point them out as I can remember them when we get to those points.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, the hobbits are in the bar. They're singing. We see Sam is, I think he's looking at that same girl that he ended up dancing with, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a group of them that are talking about a war brewing. They say how Bilbo is cracked, like he's crazy. And then they're like, and Frodo kind of is too, or whatever. And then Frodo comes in. He's like, yep, that I am. Like,
I'm proud of it, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that girl that Sam is looking at, just to touch on.
Yeah.
We did get her name a little earlier. It was very brief. Her name was Rosie.
Okay. Rosie. Okay.
And Sam and Rosie have kind of a, I don't want to call it a fling, because that's not the right word, but it's kind of like a...
It's kind of like a crush.
Yeah,
probably.
They both have a crush on each other, but they're both just...
Yeah.
I guess Sam is too afraid to say anything, and so she's just kind of standing back, letting him take his time to come to the realization or gain the courage to ask her out or anything like that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But that's their whole deal for anyone that might have wondered about that.
But after this, Frodo gets home, and he enters in the house, and there's a window open, and it's just kind of this eerie darkness.
Mm-hmm.
These sounds kind of it just kind of looms around, and it's kind of freaky, like somebody's in the house. And then we see a hand emerge from the dark behind Frodo and grab him, pull him close, and it's Gandalf. And he goes, "Is it safe?" And is the ring safe? Is it here, or do you have it still? And they grab the ring. It's in the envelope. Gandalf tosses it into the fire.
Yeah.
And the envelope burns, but the ring doesn't because it's the ring. And Gandalf has these little grabber things. I don't know. I'm just gonna call them grabbers. But he grabs it and he picks it up and gives it to Frodo, saying he's like, "Don't worry, it's not hot." Basically, it's like relatively cool. Asks him if he sees anything, and Frodo says the writing isn't there. There's nothing. And but then Frodo goes, "Wait, yes, there are markings," but he can't really read it. And Gandalf says, he points out, he's like, "This is the language of Mordor."
Yeah,
and I dare not speak it here.
Yeah, because Frodo refers to it, he's like, it's some form of Elvish. I can't, I can't read it. And Gandalf says there are few who can. That's the language of Mordor.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at it though, like the engraving on there, it looks like it could be some sort of like Elvish writing though. Like it's very fancy type looking, but
yeah.
I mean, here Gandalf, do the whole one ring to rule them all, to bring them, to find them, all that. He translates it for Frodo.
Yeah, he says what the text is on it, and I think that's probably good to at least mention. He says what it is in common tongue, and that is one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, whatever that means.
And then he officially confirms it for us, this is the one ring.
The one ring, right. And this was kind of, I think, a confirmation for him. That's why they threw it in the fire.
Yeah.
He was like, is this that ring?
And he's, he says this is the one, Sauron forged, Isildur took it, Sauron himself.
He gives it the history, he gives Frodo the history of it. Says for 60 years it remained in Bilbo's care, prolonging his life. But now the ring has awoken, hearing its master's call. The spirit of Sauron endured, his life force is bound to the ring, and the ring survived. Basically being, as you said, it's linked, so therefore he's still around. Yeah. Says that he is seeking...
Continue.
It basically just says that he's seeking the ring to cover the lands in a second darkness, and stresses the importance of keeping it out of the hands of Sauron.
Well, and it's at this point as well too. It kind of zooms in on the ring as they're both watching it, and you hear a little bit of like the dark speech as they refer to it, or like the language of Mordor might come off of it.
Right. And Frodo goes. He says, "Good. Then we'll hide it. We'll hide it. Nobody else knows where it is, right?" And then Gandalf says, "Well, there is one other. Gollum knows, and the enemy found him and tortured him until he said, and we hear what we heard earlier saying Shire Baggins, which leads them there. They know where to go.
And one of the things that we get told here as well by Gandalf is he searched everywhere for the creature Gollum, and so
but they got to him first.
The time gap here is not a couple months to Gondor, a couple months back. It's several years because he spent years trying to find Gollum.
Right.
And one thing that you get in the books for context as well, and it's a character we'll get introduced to a little later, and all he does go to the Dunedain, who I mentioned back in when we covered The Hobbit. There's still a small remnants of a race, and I mentioned it here at the very beginning of this movie. He does go to that group of people, those rangers, to try and assist him in finding Gollum, although they don't. There is a fan film where they do find Gollum, but he escapes type deal. Like one of them captures Gollum and tries to get him to Gandalf, but he escapes. But it's non-canon, but it's a cool little film.
Gotcha. But we do see a hobbit, kind of like looking like, who are these men approaching? Because we do see the nine, the hooded guys, come in and they just full on just kill him.
Yeah, they just
they
on
draw back their sword.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
But then it jumps back to Frodo and Gandalf, and Frodo is offering Gandalf the ring, take
says,
it, like here, like you'll keep it safe better than I can, type of thing.
Yeah, and Gandalf's refusing, and eventually he ends up shouting, and he's just like, "No, don't tempt me, Frodo. Like, I don't want any part of that thing," because And he explains, it's like because of its influence, he wants nothing to do with having it, because though he would use though his desire with it is good, like to do good, through Gandalf, it would have a terrible power.
Yeah,
Like
and
him using it, like if it was only one way, he would use it to do good, but because it can influence him, it has a terrible, like access to a terrible power through him.
yeah, and because it was like I mentioned back in The Hobbit with Gandalf, like he essentially is an angel in human form,
Right.
and he still has the availability to all of his power that he had when he was like an angel. Essentially, he still has access to all of that power.
Yeah.
But per his agreement with what is essentially God for this universe, like he and the other wizards have agreed that they are limited to a very small portion of it. But like if he gets influenced by that ring, like all bets are off.
Yeah. But Gandalf tells Frodo to leave. He says, "Get out of the Shire and meet him at the Prancing Pony," which we did. See in the first or in the Hobbit. We talked about that. You said that it's not the first time or last time we're going to see that, and here we're talking about it again.
And so this is another difference between the movie and the book.
Okay.
Because essentially when this time frame right here happens with Gandalf telling Frodo he needs to leave, Frodo goes with Sam, Merry, and Pippin, and they buy they buy a little house on the very outskirts of the Shire. And they stay there for they stay there for several years, and Frodo gives Bag End the house here to the Sackville Bagginses. Like he gives the house to them, and so in the book they stay at that other house that Frodo had bought, and they stay there, like I said, for many years before finally leaving and going to Bree, and then continuing on from there.
Interesting.
Whereas, like in this movie, obviously it skips that whole portion of it.
But Gandalf is going to go and meet the head of his order, which we met in The Hobbit, being Saruman.
Yeah.
He says to keep the name Baggins hidden outside of the Shire. Like, basically, keep that hidden because that's what they're going off of.
Yeah, and it's almost along the lines of like him saying like, don't trust anybody. Like keep.
Yeah.
Like
there's also definitely that to it.
Like don't give anybody your real name. Don't tell them your purpose. Don't tell them where you're going, where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that type of stuff. I would say is implied in all of that.
Yeah, but they hear something outside of the window, and Gandalf kind of approaches, and we see the bush kind of like shake a little bit right outside the window. So he takes his staff and just strikes whatever it is, and you hear "ow," and he reaches in, he pulls in Sam, and he's like, "You were eavesdropping and stuff," and Sam's like, "No, I wasn't. I didn't hear anything important." And then he ends up commenting, he's like, "Only something about a ring, a Dark Lord, and the end of the world."
Oh, is that all? Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, is that it?
That's all you heard? Oh, well, good. You're free to go.
Yeah. But anyway, so he begs Gandalf not to turn him into anything unnatural.
Like a frog.
Gandalf, yeah, and then Gandalf replies with that he has a better use for him. And,
you're
so
going to be Frodo's pack mule, son.
Exactly. Yeah. So Gandalf warns Frodo that the ring is trying to get back to its master. So basically, don't put it on and be very careful with it.
Yeah.
And then they ride off. Or he rides off.
We don't see the effects of like Bilbo wearing the ring in The Hobbit. We don't see like the darker effects of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into those until we actually get to those points in the films here. But we do see like the darker side from like Frodo's view of what he's seeing, and like that bad side of it. We see that here in Lord of the Rings movies, whereas we don't see almost any of that in The Hobbit.
Yeah. Okay. But Gandalf rides off. Frodo and Sam hike along. Sam stops and points out that right here where they're standing. If he takes one more step, it will be the furthest away from home that he has ever been.
Yeah, and
Kind of just being like, it's showing that he doesn't. It's like he's never left home. And it's like this is going to be something big for him.
well, and this is a meme right here in the Lord of the Rings community.
Oh, really?
Because the people will take it. I've seen it. I've seen it done where they take this image of Sam, and they'll go into like Star Wars, and they'll put it on like Naboo, and the caption will be, "If I take one more step, this will be the line." And they put it there, or like they'll take it and they'll put him over. Like I think there's one meme video where it's like every single time Sam takes a step, you hear that in the background. If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been. Throughout the whole movie.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
And like it's a short little clip, but it shows a bunch of different like scenes across all 3 films. And it'll be like, if I take one more step, like this will be the farthest I've been home. Jump to another part. If I take one more step, jump to another part. If I take one more step, like it's
Nice.
funny, but it's annoying at the same time.
But anyway, so it cuts ahead, and Sam is cooking some food. Looks like some sausages. It's some meat. While Frodo's chilling up in a tree, and they kind of start hearing singing.
Yeah.
So
this is an extended scene for the extended cuts, just as a heads up.
Yeah. And apparently it's wood elves. So they go and they like kind of try to find them, and they do, and they watch, and we see here that the wood elves are actually enacting the Wookiee Life Day tradition that we actually first see in the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh God.
They're walking along. Okay. Not true, but at the same time, if you've seen these 2 scenes, it is very similar.
Oh man.
Like straight up, side by side, they're going opposite directions, but it is so similar. It reminded me of it. I'm like, oh goodness. So Life Day.
From movie to book, again, the difference here
Yeah.
is in the book, Frodo and Sam actually go and interact with the elves, and they have like a meal with them, and they talk to the leader of that group of elves, whose name is Gildor.
Okay.
And essentially these elves, which we get, it's changed between movie and book. In movie, these are just elves heading to a harbor to leave Middle-earth. And we'll get more background information about that later on, throughout this film and like the next 2. One or both has more information on it. But in the books, in the first book, these are actually outcast elves. Who have and they're not evil, they're not bad, but they're more nomadic lifestyle elves.
Gotcha.
And it is the book took it one way, and the movies they took it a different way, but
I see.
Yeah.
But we just see that for a little bit, and they kind of explain it, and Sam just says, it almost makes him sad. But I didn't really see anything too large of importance there. Like, I mean, you explained it a little bit.
I mean, other than just the background stuff I gave real quick with the movie and the book, but other than that, not really. But
we cut ahead, and we see Sam laying down, and they're both him and Frodo are sleeping for the night. And Frodo's just sitting there kind of peaceful. And I think we actually saw a very similar scene with Bilbo in The Hobbit.
Yeah.
But Frodo's just chilling, trying to sleep, and Sam is squirming around, and he says that there's roots digging into him, and he's like, basically like, I can't sleep, like this or whatever. And he's having trouble, and Frodo's just kind of like, well, just imagine you're at home in a nice, calm, fluffy bed, like kind of thing. Like, just put your mind someplace else and try.
He's like, quit being a little bitch and just suck it up.
I mean, that's a translation of it for sure. But no, Sam says, he's like, I'm never going to be able to sleep out here. And Frodo just goes, me neither, Sam. kind of like, Sam's having trouble sleeping because of that, but I'm having trouble sleeping because of you.
Yeah, it's like, you may be having trouble sleeping because of the ground, but I'm having trouble sleeping because you won't shut up.
Yeah, exactly. But we cut, and Gandalf approaches a large tower in Isengard to speak.
Isengard, hard eye.
Isengard? Okay, I
Yep.
wasn't too sure. Hard eye? I thought you
Hard
only
eye.
liked hard R's.
Well, I mean, I'm just tomato potato.
Well, apple carrot. Anyway, so
That's like my new thing, man. It's just like someone says something like, tomato potato.
I have heard you say that quite a bit, and I like that you couldn't,
I know.
because obviously it's not the original phrase. I like skewing phrases to be like just completely opposite. So I very much like what you did, but like anything like that, it's just like, oh well, the paper grass. It's like it's something unrelated.
Like I don't know how
It's
I
just funny to
started it.
me.
Like if I heard it from somewhere else or if I just started saying it at one point. I don't know. But for some reason lately, that's just been my thing to say. It's just like, tomato potato. I don't.
It's funny, but anyway. So yeah, he comes into Isengard to speak to Saruman. Now out comes Count Dooku,
Indeed.
and he reports. And I know I've made that reference before,
R.I.P..
but come on, it's the same
R.I.P..
guy. Yeah, I know. But anyway,
Poor
he
Christopher Lee.
reports.
R.I.P.
Yep.
It rhymes.
Yeah, that dude was crazy cool. Anyway, so he reports this kind of occurrence is like I found the ring kind of thing. He reports it to Saruman, and as he's talking at around, and it's at 47 minutes in and 30 seconds, so 47:30. I remember seeing a Facebook post where it's like, fun fact, you see Gandalf's pipe tucked away in his staff.
Yeah.
Now, this isn't like, I don't think that this is like rarely known or anything like that, but I've been actively looking for it, and I didn't see it in The Hobbit.
I have it paused right here.
Mm-hmm. No, at this time stamp, I did see it. I was like, oh, it is there. But like throughout The Hobbit, I was trying to do that, but I realized that he didn't have the same staff.
Yeah, and
so he probably wouldn't have, and when I was looking for it.
I was going to have two things here. Number one, the different staff like you had just mentioned.
Right.
And so he's still, that is technically still Radagast's staff. And it's just kind of a cool thing how they did that when they filmed The Hobbit and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing was, and it's scenes like this specifically between Gandalf and Saruman, where I was wanting us to do Lord of the Rings first and then The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah.
Because in this scene, and I'll just briefly say it because we'll get into it a little bit more as the scene progresses.
Mm-hmm.
But in this scene, we see Saruman. We see the downfall of him. We see how he's fallen.
Right.
And when you watch it, Hobbit to Lord of the Rings, you see the good side, the good Saruman, and then you see this side of him. Whereas personally, I like to see this bad side of him here.
Mm-hmm.
And then watch The Hobbit and be like, oh my God, like that's completely like he's a good guy here, but he's not. Or like, I like to see the low and then see the high, I guess.
I see.
Star Wars is a completely different subject. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Anything else, low and then high, but don't you cry. I swear to God, if you cry, I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
You had to bring it up, man.
Cry. I'm pointing at myself right now, Jacob.
I know you are. But I'm taking it too because it's... Anyway. So, Saruman says that Sauron cannot take physical form at this moment, but his spirit is still strong. He describes Sauron pretty deep, like pretty in depth, and Gandalf kind of replies with, "How do you know this?" And Saruman says he's seen it through a seeing stone. Gandalf says that those are dangerous, as you don't know who else is watching, as the others are unaccounted for.
Yeah, and so with those, the official title or official name for him is the Palantir.
Okay.
And essentially, if I'm not mistaken, there was 4 of them.
Okay.
One Saruman has, one is in Gondor in Minas Tirith. And then the other 2 are unknown. of where they're
Okay.
at. They were lost during a great war, and so it's unknown what happened to them, whose hand they fell into. Um, but based on this scene here, we can assume that Sauron has one.
Yeah.
I would say that is a safe assumption to make.
I would say probably, yeah.
And whether there are more than 4 or not, I am not 100% sure on. I from what I can remember, I'm pretty sure there was only 4 of them.
Okay.
But
well, I could have sworn that's what they mentioned in this. I could have sworn he said there was 4. I just didn't note it.
yeah, but like as Gandalf said, like they are dangerous to use right now. You
Yeah.
know, because like as far as Gandalf is concerned at this point, if Sauron has one, like Sauron is a very powerful figure. He's got a very strong, like willpower. He's very cunning. Like, take the cunningness of Smaug and multiply it by, like, 1,000. And you have Sauron. And so, like,
so
that's
it's not safe to use one.
And that's why Gandalf is so wary and so, cautious about using it.
But Saruman says that the 9 have, they have rode in and found the Shire. Saruman then, as Gandalf tries to run to get to them and help them, Saruman closes the doors on Gandalf, trapping him in. And he then...
Saruman even says at one point, he says, the hour is later than you think. And to most people, that really wouldn't mean much. But what he's saying is, like, it's too late. You don't realize what has occurred. Like, it's too late for you to come to me for help, or it's too late for you to do something about this or that. Like, it's got a heavier implication than I think a lot of people pick up on. And, like, it's a very, short little line that he says there, but it does bring a lot of weight to events as we are about to see them in this film.
Yeah. But he says you didn't think a hobbit could withstand the power of Sauron. He basically says there is no winning against him. We must join him. So Saruman bad.
Yeah.
Then Gandalf replies with, when did Saruman the Wise abandon reason for madness? And that doesn't really, make Saruman too happy. They get into a fight. They're throwing each other around with, magic and stuff. They're flinging them here and there.
Yeah.
To which Gandalf ends up losing, pretty much.
And
Saruman lifts him and throws him way to the top up the tower. And he just kind of goes into darkness, and then it cuts to
one thing
Sam.
that I am remembering now that I had forgot to mention earlier. When Gandalf originally shows up here at Isengard and starts talking with Saruman.
Yeah.
So as we heard in the Hobbit, Saruman is Saruman the White.
Yeah.
But at this point, when Gandalf shows up in the books, he's referred to as Saruman of many colors.
Interesting.
And so it's essentially like he was Saruman the White, this noble, powerful, pure, good guy, and now he is Saruman of many colors. He's fallen. He's not pure anymore, type of thing. And so, like in the books, it is described that like his robe is, and it's not just like a rainbow, color to his robe, but it sparkles and it changes colors as he's wearing it and as he's moving. It's not the white robe that he normally would wear.
Yeah.
And I wish they would have found some way to do that with this movie. Which I mean, I guess if you haven't read the books when these came out, that it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to you. It wouldn't have the implications that it should have. But personally, I think I wish they would have incorporated that into this one way or another.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But we cut to Sam wandering through a cornfield, and he gets scared a bit as he thinks he's lost Frodo. But we just see Frodo's right up ahead of him, just out of sight. They both get ran into by 2 hobbits, the firework thieves. who have stolen some goods from a farmer who is chasing them. So they all run away and tumble down a hill. You said that their names, it's, they got longer names. We mentioned them earlier, but what they're mainly referred to
Mary and
is
Pippin.
Mary and Pippin, yes. So, yeah, we see them. They're running. They run into Sam and Frodo, and they end up, as they're running, falling down a hill. When they get to the bottom of it, they find some mushrooms, and so they start picking them and stuff. And they're along a path, and Frodo kind of like looks down the path and suggests, he's like, "Guys, let's get off the road."
Yeah.
And then we hear like there's like birds coming this way, like clearing the way, like something's coming, and he demands them. He's like, "Guys, let's get off the road now." They do so, and they're hiding just like off to the side under some roots.
Mm-hmm.
And we see in come a horseman, like one of the nine, one of the shadowy figures. And in this, go ahead.
No, sorry, finish your thing.
I was just saying that in this scene we do see a close up of Shadowmere and a Dementor, because that's essentially what these things are. So I mean, we do see that. That's what's there.
Yeah. And it's in this scene too that like so we do get our first real like close up of one of the nine, and they attempt to do it in the movie, but the book describes it so much better. Like when I was reading the Fellowship of the Ring book, like I like got chills down my spine reading it.
Yeah.
And so like the way that the nine are described as like interacting or like searching and whatnot is not by sight. Like they don't see. They go off of hearing, they go off of smell. Like they use their other senses to make their way and to search for whatever they're searching for. And so like the way the book describes is like they get down, they like hunch down, they're sniffing, they're like turning their head in like weird like almost like spazzing out to, like their head like starts to like spaz to the side, and like you get a very like dark and just creepy visual when you read it in the book. And they attempted to do it a little bit here in the film, but just nowhere close to as well.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, when I read it in the book, like I literally had like shivers down my spine just reading it. It was very well written, but so creepy at the same time.
Yeah. That sounds like it. But anyway, so they're hiding, and in comes one of them. All that we see close up, and he's seeking them. He's searching around and all in the ways that not exactly as you were saying it could have been, but like portrayed, but like he's searching, and without really thinking, Frodo, like he's like got his eyes closed, like he's trying to remain calm, and all that, and he's slowly putting on the ring.
Yeah.
It's almost like in his mindlessness, it's just going, not mindlessness, but as he's, trying to, it's like influencing him in that way. And Sam stops him, though.
Yeah.
Sam stops him. And they end up, I don't know who it was, but go ahead.
Well, I was just going to refer back because Gandalf earlier in the film had mentioned that, like, the servants of the enemy will be drawn to its power, like, if you were to put it on. And like you were saying with, like, influencing him, it's almost like the ring is trying to get him to put it on. So the ring wraiths right there, the Nazgul, the nine, whatever you want to call them. Like,
yeah.
That way,
because it's going to try to get back to its master.
Yeah, like, and in that moment, I'm sure, like, the ring can sense that they're right there.
Yeah.
And so it's trying to influence him heavily to get, like, to put it on. So that way, like, all nine of them can just, 100% pinpoint location, swoop in there, kill them all, get the ring, go home.
Yeah. But
so in the film that actually does happen. In the film, all the hobbits die and Sauron rules over everybody.
Yeah. So this little twitchy thing, he puts on the ring, the little twitchy Shadowmere rider thing, immediately sees it, and he just turns.
And then you see Malfoy, Dementor.
Yeah, and then they all get just beheaded and gutted, and then the ring is taken away to Sauron, who then
And
puts
then
it on.
Harry Potter shows up and uses his Patronus thingy to scare them away.
All right. Well,
Hooray!
this is a little bit of a different direction even than I was trying to take it, and it was off course, but whatever. You started this. So, but anyway, no, they he tries to put it on. Sam stops him, right? Without, yeah. Then one of the hobbits, I don't know which one it is, but tosses that bag of mushrooms.
Yeah, I think it
And
was
the-
Mary, but
Yeah,
one
I
of them
mean,
throws their
one
bag.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they distract the Grim Reaper, and as he goes off, they kind of take off running. They end up eventually seeing it in the distance a good while later, and it keeps going. They start running like a different direction, but they get stopped by a black rider, as they called it. And it was on their way out of the Shire.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't show. Wait, it kind of doesn't know which one of them to go to. So like they're all like there and they're trying to get away, but it keeps like turning between them and like kind of not attacking one in particular yet. But they end up all running. It's Sam, Mary, and Pippin. They all run and they get onto a boat and kind of push off of the dock, and they start going across a small river. And the Black Rider comes in and is chasing Frodo, who like barely outrunning him. He's not outrunning him, but he's barely keeping ahead. And he reaches the end of the dock and he jumps and makes it onto the boat.
Yeah, and one thing to clarify here too is it's not just the one Black Rider at this point.
Mhm.
There's like 4 or 5 of them at least.
Right, yeah.
And because I mean, watching it, like, it might be hard to, figure out whether it's just one of them and it's just able to get around that quick, or if there's multiple.
Mm-hmm.
But it is multiple of them, and as we see, the hobbits on their little impromptu raft thing, as I see him, as they're leaving, they do see the one Black Rider turn around and go to leave, and you see more, follow behind it.
Yeah. But they're on the boat. They go across the Black Rider, whatever goes along. They end up floating on, and it's raining at this point. They approach a gate, and somebody opens up like a little seeing thing. Doesn't see anybody, so they open up a lower one, and and it talks to them. And they say that they're on their way to the Prancing Pony. They wish to stay at the inn. They end up coming in, and they see, is this a town and mainly of men?
Yeah, this is Bree.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah,
but like,
it's
is
the
that
same.
specifically like a?
It's the same town that we saw Thorin in.
Okay.
So
it
it's
is.
Primarily men, some hobbits. You'll see some dwarves there occasionally as well if you were to like live in that town, either passing through. There might be maybe 1 or 2 dwarves that actually live in the town, but predominantly men and hobbits.
Okay. But they end up finding and they enter the Prancing Pony and get out of the rain. As they go in, Frodo asks the barkeeper for Gandalf the Grey, and ends up introducing himself as Underhill after a little bit of kind of contemplation, like, oh, I shouldn't say my name is Baggins. Underhill. I am Underhill. The barkeeper hasn't seen Gandalf, though, in about 6 months.
Yeah.
So Frodo kind of looks like, oh, well, shoot, he's not here. Okay.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of those things where, like, now we're getting a little bit of a time frame here, but there's a significant time jump again from, like, when they initially left the Shire to actually arriving at Bree.
Right. But they get some food and drink, saying that Gandalf will be there. He'll be there eventually, kind of thing. Merry and Pippin are very happy and excited because they got some ale and they found out that it comes in pints. I believe it was ale, right?
Yeah.
And someone is staring at them from the corner. Though they ask about him, and the person says he is a ranger that is known as Strider. Now, I think that this is a really cool place to end our first part because because in this we do draw that connection from the last episode of The Hobbit because Thranduil told Legolas to go and find this person, son of whatever. He is known as Strider. He is a ranger, right? So this is the connection. Obviously, we don't see Legolas yet, but this is the guy. So it's kind of funny, too, because when I clicked pause, the timestamp was 10101. But that is where we are.
And I paused it right there for
done.
you, buddy.
Thanks. We share the same account. In that, Evan gave me permission to use his. But anyway, yes. So that is where we were going to end our first part of covering the Fellowship of the Ring. This has been a 2-hour episode. This is we're getting into the kind of the meat of things. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much of this is really going to get cut out?
About probably 15 minutes worth.
Yeah.
So it's still a longer episode.
Yeah, and I mean, this movie by itself is like 3.5 hours long, anyways. So.
Right. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, so this is where we're ending the. My wife is goofy. I gotta point that out. She texted me. So she texted me while we're recording here, and she goes, "There's a cricket in the living room. I am scared." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so I go, "All right, just about done, because I'll go in and kill it, you know." And she responds, "Do you really want my headstone to read Death by Cricket?" She's silly.
Oh boy.
But anyway, so that's where we're ending this episode. I believe the next one we will record will be Mandalorian. I guess I don't have any real kind of, closing comments other than our usual, keep the downloads coming, leave a review, please. Evan will mention our goals here in a second, but just, you keep the downloads going. We reward that, as he'll say. We do want to say thanks again for the blooper reel, 4,000 downloads. If you want to hear from more of us, we've got the Instagram, TikTok. I've got YouTube at Rude, Crude, and Socially Unacceptable. Evan, you have YouTube where?
Future Instinct.
Future Instinct, yeah. We play games together some and just kind of do Let's Plays there. And it's just kind of a, more fun, creative outlets.
And I act even more stupid than I do on here.
Okay. Yeah, well, Anyway, and then if you want to get in contact with us, we do have, obviously, you can go to the Discord. You can go to either of those two YouTube channels and just comment, because we will see each comment. We'll be sure to respond to them. We also have Instagram, where you can, direct message us. We have TikTok, which I realize I can make the direct messages to be public, like kind of open, So I'm going to try to work with that to where you guys can directly message without having me follow you back, kind of thing. But there's all of that. You guys can get in contact with us, not to mention also the email, yourindeath@gmail. But that's a lot of rattling. Evan, what are our goals?
So goal numero uno is every 1,000 downloads is a blooper reel. And as Jacob said at the beginning of this episode, and right here at the end,
every 1,000.
We did hit that 4,000 downloads point, so a new blooper is going to be coming out tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
And then the other goal is every 100 reviews is we will do a live stream where you guys can interact with us, ask questions and whatnot as we break down and cover whichever episode or whatever part of a film that we're on at that time.
Yeah, right.
And I just checked our Apple Podcast thing, and we don't have any more reviews, so that's kind of rude.
Yep. Yeah, it's on you guys though. For that one, it's like the downloads that just kind of. I mean, if you're listening to us, that just kind of, there's no extra work needed. Really, because that just comes with you listening. But with reviews, please do so. That helps us immensely. Because the more positive reviews you have, obviously, the more Apple is like, oh hey, people like this, and they'll start suggesting it to others, and stuff, and it just overall looks good, you know.
And so, if you guys leave reviews, that means other people will see the podcast and start listening, and then they will go and leave reviews, and then we can get to the live stream stuff.
Yes, and it's kind of like a spiderweb effect, right? Or more of a fork, right?
And you get caught in the spider web, and then a spider comes over and wraps you up, and then
that's exactly what I meant. It's like The Hobbit, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Stings.
Except Bilbo doesn't show up to save you. You're just gonna get devoured.
Right. You're just gonna die.
Yeah.
Alone. The end.
Forever.
Anyway, no. So really, though, it's on you guys. That's the point of it. So see you guys when we cover Mandalorian. That should be on Monday. And tomorrow with the blooper reel. So I guess peace out.
Peace.
I gotta go off and save my wife, apparently.
Deuces!